Welcome back to the Joust About Careers podcast. This episode features the highlights of the conversation with 2010 Van Buren graduate Luke Routzon, a state and nationally licensed EMT who is now a division simulation specialist with HCA Healthcare. The highlights focus on a typical day for Luke, how his winding career path has led to where he is today, the typical career progression for an EMT, and much more. If you want to learn more about Luke's career journey, you can always watch or listen to his full interview. And if you find this podcast useful, please share it with someone else who could benefit from it. Enjoy the highlights, and I'll see you here next Monday for a brand new episode. Have a great week.
For me personally, a lot of the time when I come in, we have a schedule that's set out by days, weeks, months. When I jump on, I immediately get things set up for the day, depending on what we have. So some days we have classes like today's skills day, where nursing residents who already have their nursing license, they come to us and they do about 7 to 9 weeks of training, learning floor or focus specific trainings for HCA before they go out to the hospital. So today's skills day. So today they're doing Foley caths, IVs, medication pumps, so they can learn as much as they can of what the product is that we have. On simulation days, I'm typically in here with one of our mannequins that is about $30,000 to $80,000. And what we do is work different scenarios with those nursing residents I talked about before. And we go through different scenarios to make sure that they can put the training that they've been working on to quote unquote real life with different variables that constantly happen. So typically on a day-to-day, it all depends on what the schedule is, but normally I'm making sure that everything's maintained. There's no issues with any equipment or product that we have, and then assisting the educators, making sure that they have everything set up that they may need for the day. As I grew up and I started to mature and learn and come into myself, I knew I wanted to be in medicine. How? I wasn't sure. When I started working in EMS, which was, I was licensed back in 2015, took about 9 months to do. And once I had that, I worked volunteer in Seneca County. And then I ended up scooping up a job in Toledo for ProMedica. After ProMedica, ended up going to the city of Cleveland and worked EMS there. And then went to Baltimore, Maryland, and worked in a small town called Bel Air in Harford County. And that was a live-in firefighter program where you actually lived in the firehouse 24/7 in like a college dorm. And you would run calls at night. You would go to school during the day. And it was an incredible experience, and it taught me a lot. And it really showed me where my passion was going to lie. Mm-hmm. And then my hand went into the bag of candy again and decided to go into disaster relief. Which gave me a very different outlook at life of actually cherishing human life instead of looking at it as a patient or the numbers you see on the screen of your defibrillator and just treating the symptoms. You have to pay attention to the human. Where I ended up working federal for FEMA and did that, and that's what landed me here in Richmond. A little bit after that, got back into EMS and did 5 years here at Richmond Ambulance. And then I so happened on LinkedIn, found specialist pop up, and I was like, oh, specialist, don't know what this is. Simulation specialist. Don't know what that is. Read. It was kind of vague on what it actually was, but I thought it was going to be a laboratory technician job like I had before, working with EMS students, but instead of EMS, it was going to be nursing. Whole different animal, and I had no idea. And once I got here and talked to management and my leadership, I realized that this is an incredible feat that I was actually able to find. And I'm so happy I landed here. It takes everything that I love doing, which is education, anything medical, technology, and I get to throw it all into one. In EMS, we'll start out with the tier level. So the lowest in EMS that is certified and licensed, we actually get both, is EMT. And that's basic life support. You can do CPR, you can use a bag valve mask, you can do some airway adjuncts, but not intubation. You can give a very small number of meds. Like aspirin, nitroglycerin, and it all depends on the state and the jurisdiction you live in, because the medical director that's over you in your company or volunteer organization that you're with tells you what you can and can't do through standing orders. And then you have intermediate or advanced EMT, which they can do IVs, they can do a little bit more and a little bit more meds, a little bit more cardiology. And then you have paramedic. Paramedic can do all the cool things. They can intubate the IVs. In Florida, I know that they can do thoracotomies and chest tubes. They can defibrillate. They can pace patients, which just sends an electrical pulse to the heart to keep it working if it's running too slow or if there's an electrical issue in the heart. And that takes about 2 years to do. And you can either do just the licensure or you can do the diploma route and get your associates like I did. So EMT takes about 9 months. You can go to a vocational school. I know in Ohio, you have Owens. They will have an EMT program, and a lot of volunteer organizations in the area will as well. They'll say, hey, we're going to send you to class. We'll pay for your class if you commit X amount of years. There's a lot of volunteer organizations that are hurting for EMTs and members as a whole. So it's a great way. If you don't want to pay and you want to do it on your part-time while you're working somewhere else, that's perfect. It takes about 9 months. And what happens is that you will take your final exam in class. You'll do your psychomotor testing. If you pass those, then you get your letter to test for the National Registry. National Registry is a certification that is nationwide, and it all depends on the state if they accept it or not. That, let's say, when I moved from Ohio to here, I just showed my National Registry card and I could get reciprocity, which means, oh, I don't have to do anything. I could just apply and get my license done. The state license is what is your license to practice. So the state gives you your license, National Registry gives you a certification where it shows that you can go to different states or hold multiple state cards, just like nursing. So nursing, they have their licensure, EMT, advanced, intermediate, and paramedic all do the same thing. So we have to have the certification. You can let that lapse and drop and keep your state license if you'd like. I don't advise of that because then if you magically move somewhere, then oops, you don't have that and you have to go through the ringer to get it done. It is hard mentally. It really is. And it's hard physically. We are day in, day out. We're passion people. We don't get the highest wage around. To be completely transparent, when I worked 5 years here in Richmond, it took me that 5 years to break $20 an hour. It's hard because you're there for the passion. You're not there for the money. You're there to help people. Right. And it just is what it is. But you have to remember that you're going to patients in random locations in great housing or horrible housing or no housing at all. Anything from, oh, my toe's been hurting for 3 weeks and I want to go get a turkey sandwich, up to you walk in the house and it's a crime scene. And now you have to deal with that. You take that patient, they may survive, they may not. You could have tried everything in the planet to do what you needed to do. You drop them off and you don't have that time to reset and mentally work through what you just had to because there's another call to take. And off you go. It's hard. You have to have a support system in place. You have to make sure you keep your mental health healthy. And that's one of the hardest things for us because we're passionate people. We don't want to stop. I mean, it is what it is. If later on I can go back to it, okay. But I pushed myself so hard and I didn't take myself realistically and use my mental health correctly as I should have because I was using my passion. And a lot of people have that problem. So understanding that it's not always a glorious job, that's the hardest part. And as you deal with that and you do it healthy, you have a whole career ahead of you.
If you liked this Joust About Careers episode, You can explore previous episodes and highlights to learn about even more careers of Van Buren graduates. To be sure you don't miss upcoming episodes, please click subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you'll know when the next episode is released. Thank you for spending a portion of your day with us, and we hope you will continue to prepare for your future by learning just about careers.